After the Japanese signed the surrender documents in September 1945, Australian troops slowly started returning home.
Baby, won't you please come home?
The cost of the war had been enormous. Nearly 40,000 Australians killed and over 150,000 wounded. The troops coming home also marked the end of an era for Australian pin-ups. In Man magazine there were more raunchy, full-colour photos.
I never thought we'd part.
Pix was less bold, but the Beach Girl and Cover Girl competitions were supplemented by the Girl of the Week.
Won't you please come home?
Both magazines, in their own way, encouraged the soldiers to return home to a life of domesticity.
After the war, I didn't do any more modelling, and my husband had to continue to serve because he had signed on for 12 years, and so there wasn't any homecoming for him. So he didn't get to see his baby son until he was 7 or 8 months old. And I think he was home for perhaps a month or 6 weeks, and then he was gone again. So it was as though the war was still on. But I was keeping positive, never entertaining negative thoughts. I still don't.
Well, after the war I came back and working on newspapers flat out. I wanted to photograph everything. I became so involved with my work and I loved it so much that it really took over. And I actually lived for it. Every day was an adventure, quite different. And that suited my nature very, very well. It was always a surprise what you were going to do or who you were going to meet and photograph. I'd photograph the beautiful girls for truth. I think a lot of the girls did enjoy having a woman photographer. I could get them to do things that a man wouldn't dream of asking them to do, like show a little bit more cleavage or a little bit more leg, just look sexy and, you know, flutter your eyes or something like that. And of course they thoroughly enjoyed it. I think they got a big laugh out of it, actually.
Within weeks of war finishing, I was in Melbourne, having chosen to go to Melbourne Uni. Everything to do with the war was very quickly somehow receded into the background. I suppose everyone's efforts were to forget it, get on with a new life. I remember opening a Pix back at home where my mother always kept scrapbooks and full of everything that ever happened to any of us, and seeing the picture of myself, which I didn't carry with me in my new life in Melbourne, recall the time when I was a beach girl. Sometime after the war, I received a letter from a soldier, and he had found a photo of me in a dugout or a foxhole in New Guinea on the Kokoda Trail. I don't know whether this was a photo carried by one of the boys who had come back from the Middle East. Presumably the owner of that photograph had not returned. It'll remain forever unknown to me who had that photo at that time and what it meant to them.
I'm gonna buy a paper doll that I can call my own, a doll that other fellows cannot steal.